Ask an advisor. Am I too late? I'm 68, have no investments and only have $60,000 saved. Smart asset. At 68, I do not have any investments of any kind. My $80,000 condo is paid off, and I have $60,000 saved. Am I too late? Bernhard, it's never too late to start investing and managing your money. But I continue reading. Right pointing arrow. The post. Ask an advisor. Am I too late? I'm 68, have no investments and only have $60,000 saved. Appeared first on Smart Asset blog. Below are your comments. 40 is not too late to start. My science career didn't start paying me a significant salary until I was in my late 30s. Until then I was getting $30,000 per year. I took the advice of my guide who I mirror her model, then it rocketed up to $100,000 per year in my 40s. I started saving $1,600 per month into my 401k. If you are 68 and have little set aside for retirement, hiring a financial advisor is a sure way to have even less money available. When one looks at investments, the higher the return, the greater the risk, so really is that a viable path? And keeping working depends on a lot of factors beyond you. Use your 60K to start smoking and drinking heavily. Avoid all exercise and take no medicines of any kind. If you do it right, you won't outlive your savings. I am 65 years old and my $20,000 house is nearly paid off. I have over $3,000 in my 401k, and about $200 in my checking account. I plan to begin receiving $700 monthly in Social Security at age 67. I am still working but plan on retiring later this year. Am I set, or should I plan on postponing my with no house payment and assuming Social Security around $1,500, I would not freak out, just live life and enjoy it. Look, you don't know if you have 6 months, 6 year of 20, so just figure out how to add at least some more income with a side gig and work out a budget. Take up some inexpensive passions. Lee. Next news. UAW strikes. How does auto worker union pay compare to other hourly jobs? USA Today. UAW workers are striking for better pay, among other benefits. Here's a look at how UAW hourly wages compare with other workers in striking states. Below are your comments. Just to be complete and accurate, pay should include benefits and total employee cost to the employer. Separating hourly rate from total compensation isn't fair. The all-in average compensation is $65 per hour. What is all in for that babysitter? The same as their hourly rate. For reference, Fain is in the top 5% in the country at over $300,000 a year. Now, let's compare total compensation of Congress to. So the article title is totally misleading as we never get any comparative wages to compare. It also fails to mention the other benefits, healthcare, substantial bonuses each year, and more. Also lists the revenue amount, not the actual profit from those revenues. A carefully crafted article with where are the relevant comparisons here? I'm a pipefitter at a shipyard. I wouldn't expect my wage to be compared to a produce stocker at the grocery store or a lawyer. This article has left out the profit-sharing checks the UAW receives. That amounts to $1,000 per worker per $1 billion in profit. Over the last several years, this has added an average of $9,000 per year in profit sharing. A top-tier employee would earn over $78,000 per year in salary and profit. Next news. End of corporate America's profit recession comes with concerns. Bloomberg. Investors are growing more confident that a year-long slump in profits for corporate America is about to end. Yet a fragile economic outlook, wary consumers and the highest interest rates in 16 years mean any relief for stocks could be short-lived. Most read from Bloomberg. Israel latest. Biden and Abbas talk as Gaza invasion nears. Israel latest. Rockets target Tel Aviv. Hezbollah claims strike. Israel latest. Israeli army strikes Hezbollah posts in Lebanon. Top House Republican wants hell. Below are your comments. Just got my retirement plan quarterly statements for the third quarter. I haven't made a dime in my retirement funds for 2 years now. And that after 2 years of increased contributions. My balances are actually lower than they were 2 years ago. Very frustrating. I'm a bit overweight in end-of-cycle sectors and mega-cap companies. Since 2014 the market soared said on very low interest rates, then it took off on pent-up demand and money pumped into the system. But returns measured by real GDP or by inflation-adjusted returns are about the increased profits due to increased inflation or real increased profits. It's all inflation. Next week has, over time, been the last major pullback of the year. We usually rally from here to Thanksgiving. Next news. Turbulent bond market offers a fleeting glimpse of cycle's end. Bloomberg. Bond traders got a glimpse this week of what the eventual end of the Federal Reserve's hiking CYC may look like. Most read from Bloomberg. Israel latest. Biden and Abbas talk as Gaza invasion nears. Israel latest. Rockets target Tel Aviv. Hezbollah claims strike. Israel latest. Israeli army strikes Hezbollah posts in Lebanon. Top House Republican wants help from Democrats to pick KA Speaker. Your guide to understanding the roots of the Israel-Hamas war amid volatile trading conditions. Trees. Below are your comments. I have been in the market for more than 3 years before I realized I was just dumb to hold. When everything started to tank, I lost more than $37,800. Managing money is different from accumulating wealth. I'm happy to have discovered this and a way to get my money back at approximately $8,600 per week. Gold may be something to consider to preserve your wealth as more and more money is being printed and when we are at full employment. Wait till the new budget is announced. The bonds are going above 6% long term. The inversion will correct but by long end climbing higher than short term, and they both will be higher in 6 months than now. You mean the end of the yield curve inversion? I'd like to see that. Rates will remain high for years. Next news. Housing has never been this unaffordable, and home prices are only going to keep rising, Goldman Sachs says. Business Insider. Homes are even less affordable now than they were before the 2008 crash. Low supply will drive prices even higher, according to Goldman Sachs. Below are your comments. I was in construction when the 2008 crash hit and I was laid off for years, so long I switched carry. Rs. The government did nothing for home builders then, and it's doing nothing to incentivize home builders now. They don't build affordable housing because the margins are too thin. They could subs. Inflation or higher prices are caused by people continuing to purchase regardless of price and compa. Nice raise prices until purchases stop or slow. The public and companies should stop blaming interest rates for inflation. Americans just overconsume. The average house and car are more expensive. Housing has crashed 3 times in my lifetime, and each time many lost their homes. Fools say housing can only go up in price. We had one crash in the 80s, one in the 90s, and the big one around 2008. All said, housing is usually a good investment and place to live, but you need to be able to make y. And Zillow practices are making homes even less affordable. Zillow is using a trick to mislead buyers and attract sellers. Next news. Home buyers are putting more money down than ever before despite difficult housing conditions. Yahoo Finance. The U.S. median down payment increased 11.3% year-over-year in the third quarter to $30,434, the highest in a decade. Below are your comments. When I purchased my first home, it was a given expectation that buyers had a minimum of 20% down unless you used your VA loan eligibility or went with a FHA minimum down loan. Through the years, way before home values climbed to where they are now and became an issue, lenders aim up with all of the The numbers do not add up. Article says a VG down is $30,343 and is 14.71%. This means the average purchase would be $206,000. $30.343 per 0.141. And then the article says the average home price is $373,000. 26 years ago I did just that and was able to get paid in full within a few years. I made that my goal instead of trendy creature featuring my life. The absence of house payment and paying in full has allowed my higher than blue-collar life standard. Or, they are putting more money down in order to try and keep their payments lower over the next 30 years instead. Restrict home sales to individuals, not to LLCs or BlackRock or REITs. Home prices should fall about 50%, making them more affordable. Next news. Fog on the horizon, CEOs brace for recession. Yahoo Finance. Wall Street's great debate of 2023, whether the U.S. economy is headed for a recession, is resurfacing amid heightened geopolitical risk, unabating inflationary pressures, and surging bond yields. Below are your comments. Once the government stops printing money, the recession will start to roll. This is not a hit on the Dems or the Reps. Both parties have been spending money to an excess. Both parties have had administrations in the White House and controlled Congress. It may be time just to rip the Band-Aid off. Recession is guaranteed. Emo. It will happen fast as many consumers are now maxed out on credit card, auto loans and mortgage debt. And many companies will go bankrupt when they have to refinance their massive debts. Nobody cares about the debt we are piling up. Just wait another year or two, if the country is still intact. Nothing can be cut and spending will go up and away. Probably looking at another 5 or 6 trillion added to the existing 33 trillion. Hardly mentioned at all. Just wait, it will be. Russell 2000 about to dip below 1700. As a broad small cap index, it is a pretty good recession indicator. Many small companies are going to fail, most of them are not publicly owned. Next news. Fed officials prepare to extend rate pause without saying hikes are done. Bloomberg. Federal Reserve officials look set to hold interest rates steady for the second time in a row next month. But they're far from calling an end to their tightening campaign. Most read from Bloomberg. Israel late street. Biden and Abbas talk as Gaza invasion nears. Israel latest. Rockets target Tel Aviv. Hezbollah claims strike Israel latest. Israeli army strikes Hezbollah posts in Lebanon. Top House Republican wants help from Democrats to pick KA Speaker. Your guide to understanding the roots of tea. Below are your comments. Feds will raise rate November 1st. Inflation is increasing. Data is unanimous. Inflation has been increasing in the last 2 to 3 months. Understanding that there is no nation which exists on the planet who has a war chest, the question is, where does the cash come from to finance war? It comes directly from central banks, who are more than happy to lend, and who also finance both sides. As much as the world population has no idea. Too soon to declare victory? 3 years of losing is what I call it. Hurting the poor and middle class to rescue the ultra-rich via inflation. Fed pause equals prolonged agony. Next news. Nvidia, one of tech's hottest companies, is fine with remote work and is ignoring the return to office trend. Fortune. NVIDIA offers luxurious office spaces in which employees can gather, but there's no return to office mandate. Below are your comments. I'd much rather work for someone who respects me than someone who doesn't. Looking at you, Musk and Zucker. Yes. Yes, please. All those people forced to commute deserve it. At some point in time, horrible commutes and terrible office space became normalized as part of having a job. COVID changed that. Companies that don't have massive brick and mortar overhead will win in the long run. It's a matter of numbers. The less money you spend to run your business, the stronger your business will be. NVIDIA is just planning for the future, to exist in the future. Very smart company, as they are also helping save energy by not have their employees buy gasoline. And also less pollution as less cars on the road. Finally, a smart CEO and not a window licker. When you steamrolling the competition like NVIDIA, it takes the pressure off. That is probably why they aren't making people return to office. Next news. Do I pay taxes automatically if I inherit property? Smart asset. When you inherit property, the IRS applies what is known as a stepped-up basis to that asset. Here's how capital gains are taxed on inherited property. Below are your comments. Stepped-up basis is still there. But one political party is looking to eliminate that. Institute a wealth tax, a tax on unrealized capital gains, a higher tax rate on all passive income, including dividends. Let the estate tax exemption sunset or claw it back to even $3.5 million per person or per. One very important thing, get values for the assets. You don't want to be messing around years later trying to figure out what grandma's house was worth when she died, so you can calculate the capital gains. Until your local Democrats raise property taxes, like they did in CA, and tax unrealized gains, like they want to under Biden. Make sure your parents don't do you a favor and write a house in your name when you are a child. The capital gains will be whopping 50 years later. We inherited $2 million, and it was 100% tax-free. Now that we own it, we pay taxes on it. Sounds fair to me. Next news. Jamie Dimon warns of the most dangerous time for the world in decades, sounding the alarm on wars, soaring debt, and the Fed. Business Insider. The J.P. Morgan CEO laid out a series of risks, pointing to concerns with the Fed, rising debt, and geo-political conflicts. Below are your comments. He worries about high interest rates, but he is raking billions in profits by charging high and paying peanuts on deposits. His depositors are the ones that should be worried. I'm not sure most of us care about what Dimon has to say. Is there anything he doesn't have an opinion on? Don't trust him. worked and learned from that pillar of society, Sandy Weil. The architect of the financial meltdown some years age. Diamond spends most of his time counting the money he's getting from his depositors. He must be busy cleansing his workforce of anyone who doesn't support Israel unequivocally. Next news. Shares of luxury brands are tumbling in a sign consumers' high-end spending spree is over. Business Insider. Shares of LVMH tumbled after weaker than expected earnings this week. BofA estimates luxury goods stocks broadly are down 17% from recent highs. Below are your comments. Even the high-end consumer is feeling the pinch of high inflation created by the Fed to enrich the wealthy and rescue Wall Street banks. Why buy this expensive stuff when you can just steal it in CA? Biden still shops high-end. Because these luxury brands are not luxury anymore. They are being made in the same Chinese sweatshops as Shine with the same low-quality materials and polyester, plastic. To top it off, you now only see their branded items on the most trashy and broke people trying to look luxe. So they cheapen. 20% last 6 months is nothing. I bet 20% of SP 500 stocks did about the same. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.